Good morning and welcome to Gospel Bytes, where we take a bite at the gospel for the day. Today is Tuesday, August 29th. It's the memorial of the Passion or the beheading of John the Baptist. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. This is Mark 6, verses 17 to 29. Glory to you, O Lord. Now it was this same Herod who had sent to have John arrested and had had him chained up in prison because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife, whom he had married. For John had told Herod, "It is against the law for you to have your brother's wife." As for Herodias, she was furious with him and wanted to kill him, but she was not able to do so, because Herod was in awe of John, knowing him to be a good and upright man, and gave him his protection. When he had heard him speak, he was greatly perplexed, and yet he liked to listen to him. An opportunity came on Herod's birthday when he gave a banquet for the nobles of his court, for his army officers, and for the leading figures in Galilee. When the daughter of this same Herodias came in and danced, she delighted Herod and his guests. So the king said to the girl, "Ask me anything you like, and I will give it to you." And he swore her an oath, "I will give you anything you ask, even half my kingdom." She went out and said to her mother, "What shall I ask for?" She replied, "The head of John the Baptist." The girl at once rushed back to the king and made her request, "I want you to give me John the Baptist's head immediately on a dish." The king was deeply distressed, but thinking of the oaths he had sworn and of his guests, he was reluctant to break his word to her. At once the king sent one of the bodyguard with orders to bring John's head. The man went off and beheaded him in the prison. Then he brought the head on a dish and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. When John's disciples heard about this, they came and took his body and laid it in a tomb. The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Today, in this politically correct world, we see, you might say, the patron of these. The typical example of this is King Herod. King Herod had put John the Baptist to death because of two things. Because of his oath, he had a reputation to protect, that he is someone who protects his oath, but also because of his guests. He was too afraid to offend anyone. So in this political correct world, these are the two concerns. First, I don't want to offend anyone. But beneath that is my fear of destroying my own reputation. I don't want people to think I'm a bigot. I don't want people to think I'm old-fashioned. I don't want people to think that I'm disrespectful and I'm unkind. I want them to think that I'm a nice guy. And so King Herod had to give in even to something which was so evil as murder. Now, John the Baptist died because of a moral dilemma of the king. He committed adultery. Today, a lot of preachers, a lot of priests do not want to preach about this because they say there are so many other problems in the world bigger than adultery or moral sins. They don't even call them sins now. And so they say, we should not talk too much about this. In reality, nobody is talking about it anymore. It's very rare that you speak or you hear a preacher or a priest speak against adultery, same-sex marriage, or fornication, which is living outside of marriage. That's why it's becoming so rampant, because if you say in your pulpit something against these things, there's bound to be a lot of people who get offended. Jesus was one who was not politically correct. John the Baptist for sure was not. And so to say that this is something that is so trivial that we should consider it as less important than, we have nuclear war, we have poverty, we have that and that. It's not as serious. Just think about the sin of David, what this adultery had cost him. Thousands of his soldiers died. His firstborn son died. These are consequences of that sin. The Lord has forgiven, but of course every sin has a consequence. And we have to suffer consequences. We even have a religion that's spurted out from the infidelity or from the adultery of the king. That's why the church was divided, and a lot of people died from that on both sides. To say that these are trivial matters, to say that these things don't really matter, that's an understatement. We see that nowadays children are being brainwashed and being taught so many malicious things in school, all in the name of inclusion or political correctness. We don't want to offend them, not knowing that these are actually the plot of evil people who want to normalize perversion, even among children. So they cannot target a lot of the adults, so they just go for the children. So it's not as trivial as people think. And so people sometimes they preach more about compassion, preach more about tolerance, preach more about love. There is no love without truth. It is not love when you let someone go the wrong path. If someone is going to get lost, if you point them to the wrong direction, you cannot say, well, I think that person will be happier if he takes the wrong road because it's a nicer road, but he won't get to where he wanted to go. So we need prophets, just like John the Baptist. We need priests, we need parents, we need teachers, catechists. We need Christians who would speak the truth, who would lead people to the Lord. And it's not an easy task. John the Baptist already showed us how difficult it is. You could lose your head. You could get into a fight with your children, with your friends. But you have to. Otherwise, the world will tell them, it's okay. Sin is okay. Everybody's doing it. So don't worry. It's all good. No. We have the duty and responsibility if we truly care for these people. Otherwise, we'll leave them to their own business. And in the end, what's the point of being a Christian if we do not lead them to Jesus? Christianity is just not about me finding the right path, but it's leading people to that path. The fact that I became silent is already showing me that I'm not living my faith. I'm not living my mission. We are a church because we are people on a mission. So take courage. Ask for the grace to be a true prophet for the Lord. It's not going to be easy. You will be persecuted even by your own family. But that's the cost of discipleship. That's the cost of following Christ. So I pray that in this time where persecution is just around the corner, that we may prepare ourselves and our loved ones for the coming persecution, so that when that persecution comes, we may be able to stand for Christ, stand for God, despite or amidst the persecution that's coming. I'm Father J.R. Sembrano for another edition of Gospel Bytes. God bless you, and we'll see you soon. Have a nice day.